Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Constromart Knowledge and Experience Series, Volume 8, Number 5. Today, we explore another critical and exciting topic, women in engineering and leadership, breaking barriers and mentoring the next generation. So across continents and industries, I believe women continue to contribute to the shaping of our built environments, leading transformative infrastructure projects, and championing inclusivity in engineering. And yes, with all this impeccable works we are doing, significant gaps and barriers still persist. My name is Antoinette Salmata Gabi Hayes, and I am delighted to lead today's discussion on this timely topic. And our conversation as well will celebrate African women who are leading change, driving excellence, and inspiring the next generation. And this morning, we are privileged to have with us a panel of distinguished women from across the continent who are excelling in the engineering sector to share their experiences and insights on advancing women representation in the engineering sector. Right at this moment, permit me to introduce our distinguished panel members. So first off, we have Engineer Trudy Morgan. Engineer Trudy Morgan is the immediate past president of the Sierra Leone Institution of Engineers, the council member of the Professional Engineering Regulatory Council, co-founder and first president of the Sierra Leone Women Engineers. And she's the president-elect of the Commonwealth Engineering Council, a trustee with the UK-based charity Engineers for Change, Sierra Leone, and the immediate past international representative for the UK Institution of Civil Engineers. She's equally passionate about youth and women's empowerment, and she has started several initiatives that support the growth and development of young people and women. Trudy made history by becoming the first female fellow from Africa of the UK Institution of Civil Engineers, and she has won several awards locally for her work with women engineers. In June 2020, she became the first female president of the Sierra Leone Institution of Engineers and on its 50th anniversary. And in November 2023, she was named as one of 274 engineering icons by Transport for London and the Royal Academy of Engineering. She is currently the UN Habitat Project lead for the City to City Cooperation Project, working with the cities of Zurich and Freetown. She also runs a small consultancy through which she combines logic and analytical skills from her engineering background with business management, commercial, and team leadership. And her empowerment platform, ITM, continues to build structures to enable young people see STEM as a career for all. Our next panelist is Engineer Latoya Ouna. She is also a consultant civil engineer with over 14 years of professional experience in infrastructure development, contract administration, and dispute resolution. She holds a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and a master's degree in construction law and dispute resolution from the University of Central Lancashire, United Kingdom. Latoya is a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, the Kenyan branch, and serves on the FIDIC Future Leaders Advisory Council in Geneva, Switzerland, where she contributes to shaping policy and promoting sustainable engineering practices within the global consulting community. She is currently involved in large-scale infrastructure projects across Kenya, Somalia, and Tanzania, covering buildings, IT infrastructure, water and sanitation, road transportation, commercial and fishing ports, and the energy sector. Her experience spans multilateral, donor, and private sector projects, including work as a World Bank consultant. Latoya is a director at Design Master Studios, where she leads a multidisciplinary team providing end-to-end infrastructure solutions from concept to operation. Outside her professional work, Latoya is a beginner golfer and a sailor. Wow, she pursues that reflects her love for the environment and challenge the drive that her passion for engineering. We also have with us Michelle Mothibi. Michelle is a civil engineering professional with over a decade of experience in consulting and construction across South Africa and Botswana. She completed her undergraduate degree in civil engineering at Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University in 2013 and became a professionally registered civil engineering technologist with the Engineers Registration and Board of Botswana in 2016. Her technical expertise spans the design and construction supervision of civil infrastructure projects with a strong focus on water and sanitation systems. Her commitment to advancing excellence in the built environment earned her the prestigious Sheving Scholarship in 2022, awarded by the British High Commission, which enabled her to pursue a master's degree in project management at the University of Reading, United Kingdom. Beyond her engineering practice, Michelle is passionate about mentorship, professional development, and gender inclusion in the STEM field. She actively volunteers and contributes to organizations championing young professionals and women in engineering. Michelle currently serves in multiple leadership roles, including Associate Director and Senior Engineer at CPP Botswana, member of the ERB Standards and Professional Practice Committee, and she's also a member of the ACB Communications Ethics and Integrity Committee, the Vice Chairperson of the FIDIC Africa Future Leaders and Country Representative for Women in the Built Environment. And we also have with us Engineer Deborah Serwaa-Ameyaw. Engineer Deborah Serwaa-Ameyaw is an engineering geologist with extensive experience in geological and hydrogeological surveys, mineral prospecting, and geotechnical works, and with a strong background in academia. She has served as a teaching specialist in higher education, demonstrating expertise in lecturing, lesson planning, curriculum development, educational technology, and public speaking. Serwaa holds a bachelor's degree in geological engineering from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST from Kumasi, and is currently pursuing research on granitoid nomenclature in Ghana, contributing to advancing geological knowledge in the country. She serves as the Northern Regional Director for the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, providing leadership in Ghana's geological and environmental development. Serwaa also contributes to the engineering profession nationally as an examination mentor on the Council of Membership Committee at the Ghana Institution of Engineering, GHIE, where she supports the institution's professional standards and membership development. It is good to have you all here with me, my distinguished panelists. Yes, so
Good morning.
Yes, so I mean, I'm highly impressed with the profiles of all of you, and I believe this would set the tone for us to have a very meaningful conversation, having to draw from all your experiences that we have all recognized in your profiles this morning. So we would dive right in, and I would want us to share. I would want us to share on the key experiences that have shaped your rise into engineering leadership. We've heard a lot from the profile, but if you can take us on that journey from the beginning to where you are now, and I would start with Engineer Trudy, your leadership journey so far.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, Engineer Trudy. Yes, yes.
So thank you everyone, and it's a bit early, but thank you so much for giving me the little props. So to be honest, I think those of you who know me, some of you may already know that my first passion wasn't engineering, singing and dancing, maybe doing a movie or two. That was my intention. Um, way back, and I followed that right. But I am the first of four daughters to a university, and as the first of, that we have to set the tone, we have to lead by example. I'm an African child, therefore, not what you're told, but what you're encouraged to do. At the end of the day, respect is quite important.
Engineer Trudy, sorry, but I think we are struggling to hear you. If you could kindly speak up a bit, we are struggling to hear you.
You're struggling to hear me.
Yes, please.
Okay. I am so sorry about this. I actually was looking for my earplugs.
Okay. All right. So let me permit you a few seconds to do that. Whilst maybe we go on to the next speaker. So Michelle, if you can't start sharing your experiences with us whilst we wait on Engineer Trudy to come through.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. It's a beautiful day here in Botswana, and to all the men celebrating Movember, I'd like to wish you a happy month of November as we reflect on the three issues that mostly affect men. Now, to speak to the key experiences that actually shaped my career, they're very simple. They're quite simple. I think the first thing that really shaped my career personally is volunteering. And I always tell people that besides my technical ability, I think volunteering has really helped my career development a lot, because through volunteering I've been able to build a very strong network, where I've met a lot of company directors that have opened up opportunities for me in my career advancement. So for me, volunteering and networking, but obviously I've also had to position myself through my qualification, building my leadership skills. I think through that volunteering, I've been able to be given a podium, where my confidence is built, so, which are things you don't learn at school. Platforms such as these, where you actually have to speak your mind, it actually builds your career. You don't learn this in school, right? So for me, volunteering, networking, and also building certain leadership skills. So thank you. Yeah.
And Tesla Smith.
Yes, please. You can speak now. Kindly share experiences.
Okay, no, I just wanted to test to make sure that it was okay.
Yes, it's audible enough.
Oh, wonderful, thank you so much. So I started off by saying that I'm the first of, and as the first of, you're encouraged to lead by example, because there is a year and 6 months, a year and 11 months. First three girls, then there's a 7-year gap after that. And my father said to us very university professor, I don't have money. What I have is education. So the education that I got in Sierra Leone when I went to the UK really served me well. But in terms of leadership, my story is quite a long one, and I'm going to go straight to the answer. I loved Michelle's volunteering, and also I used to choir. I used to be at university, head of the female football and female games. So leadership is not something that, like she's rightly pointed out, that just happens overnight. More confident in your ability to lead. Of course, I'm looking at all the beautiful faces and I'm thinking, well, I started my journey in 1989. And in 1989 was a very different time to when a lot of these beautiful young women started their journey. They started a journey at a time where some of us probably already in leadership. And I started my engineering career in the UK. And in those days, a person like myself, first of all, there were only 4% of women in engineering in the whole. 4% of the engineers were women, a very small number. And if you look at men of color number, so the opportunity to make your voice heard was not very, there weren't very many opportunities. Had to fight very hard to get your voice heard. Had to fight very hard to lead. And what happened is, in my situation, my engineering leadership really started when I had opportunities to work that other people used to do. So in those days, I worked in an organization where we used to do night shifts and overtime and work weekends, and nobody wanted to work over the weekend. So I started working on the weekend and learning things that nobody else had access to learning. Nobody else got to do. And then all of a sudden, I had not only design experience, but also construction experience. I had not only experience in the railway, I had experience in construction. And over time, that experience allowed me to become the voice expert, the person who knew a little bit more than anybody. But then confidence to step out didn't come easy because it was a very different situation. And tell me when you're ready for me to stop. Very, very easy. And you had to stand up and speak out for yourself. Because if you don't know, I am 5'2.5", and I'm very proud of 1.5 inches. But most of the men I work with are generally 5'8" up to 6 feet. So you have to make yourself seen. But I was very, very clear about one thing. I would always be credible. I would not be the woman who spoke nonsense. So that meant that I had to learn more, understand more, speak more clearly, speak more confidently, and prepare more diligently. I know it sounds like a lot of hard work, but it has served me over time. So my short takeaway is that sometimes leadership doesn't come to you, but the opportunities that you have outside of the working environment, utilize those. I got made head of a church choir, which was a traveling choir. So we spent time going around UK and Europe. And when you leave a choir like that, there's a comfort. But when you go out of church, then it becomes a little bit more different. Now speaking for competition, outside of it, I've gotten used to speaking to different people from different nationalities all the time. And that helped build my confidence. And every time I experienced something of a different culture, I grasped and held on to it. And then the next time I spoke, I used that and built it into my conversation. Why? Because it allowed me to demonstrate my experience, my depth, my breadth. I left nothing behind. I spoke about it all. I got involved in it all. All right. I know that quite a few of us have stopped because you're smiling and you don't know how to stop me, so I'll stop.
I was actually taking in all that you were saying, because then it would just prepare me for the next question I would be engaging you on. So I would hold on to that and then engage Latoya on her experiences so far then we can take it from there. Latoya.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am so honored and humbled to be part of this discussion and to be part of this very distinguished panel. I once met Engineer Trudy Morgan in Kenya when she came for one of our conferences at the IEK. And I think I put her on the spot about this leadership. I remember almost shadowing her through her lunch breaks just to see, is anything special about this, the engineering leadership that maybe can rub off me. So I'm truly honored to be part of the panel with such brilliant engineers. For me, my journey as a consulting engineer, which is basically at this time and the engineering business, has been me thrusting myself and getting myself uncomfortable. Every time I get, it feels like I am allergic to comfort. Every time I get uncomfortable, it provides for me a space to grow into a new environment, which after I learn stuff for some time and get comfortable, I can forcefully get myself out of there and keep growing and keep growing. So for example, how did I start as in the engineering business? I was in employment for around 4 years, and I needed to do my master's. I had applied for, I could say, I felt like 100 applications for scholarships, but at that time, none was coming. Of course, I was very discouraged. Then it hit me, hey, I can fund myself. Why do I have to wait for someone to fund me? That's when I left employment and decided to go into business. And at that time, I was a contractor, and I was building small houses and small projects, and that's what got me to school. And I said, okay, this looks like a very good platform, and I think I can work with it. But I again recognized that perhaps I may have been, I don't know, maybe too young or something, but it didn't work too well as a contractor. And I ended up now getting into consulting. Again, now in consulting, once I got into my comfort zone and as a structural engineer, which I am, I thought that there's more to this than the repetitive work of a structural engineer, beams and columns. And I decided, let's find out what's out there. So that's when I applied for, I ran for chair as the chair of Association of Consulting Engineers Future Leaders. I was elected, and that is when I saw that, probably there's something here that I have that I can make use of. And I was all ears and all eyes. I was learning when I was chair. I had the opportunity, of course, of meeting all sorts of movers and shakers from the country, employers, and I got those contacts there. So I can relate with Michelle in that volunteering, of course, volunteering opens a lot of doors. So in my position as the Future Leaders Chair, I was a volunteer, which again opened the doors for me to be the ASEC Future Leaders. Not ASEC, FIDIC Future Leaders in Geneva. From there, I got a bit more confidence in growing the business of consulting engineers, getting registered, getting legal documents for it, putting myself out there as a consulting engineer, although of course, I felt that I may not be adequate being my age. And I also have the issue of being 5'1" and a size 2. So it becomes very hard for me to convince. It looks like it should be very hard for me to convince that I've not just come from campus, and that I actually have around 15 years of experience. So that has been one of the main challenges that I've had. And it doesn't get to me. It still does not get to me. I find it now flattering, and I use it to my advantage. because I feel like the more I get myself out there, the more the industry understands my standards, understands me, and that's how I believe I'm even in this conversation, that it does not need I do not have to be conventional. Engineering is not conventionally for the old school engineering of how we know it, but a new crop of consulting engineers have now come into the business, and we have to change how the business looks like. Yeah.
Yes. So, Latoya, thank you for sharing that with us. Deborah, we would like to hear from you as well. Hi, Engineer Deborah Ameyaw. Please, if you can kindly unmute yourself. Okay, so whilst we wait to get through to Deborah, I would engage Engineer Trudy. Yes, so you shared a lot with your experience, and among some of them, and what I picked was having confidence, working outside your culture, getting to learn new cultures and all of that. So I would, before that again, let me congratulate you once again on your election as the President-elect of the Commonwealth Engineering Council. Your works are notably remarkable, and your leadership journey, like I mentioned, has also been very wonderful and one that is unique. So I would like to know what has been the biggest structural or cultural barrier you faced in reaching these milestones, and what is the one piece of advice you would give to a young female engineer navigating similar challenges currently?
Thank you very much. So the first thing is, I am now the president. So I am now actually the president of Engineering Council. I'm not sure, you seem to have. That's a problem.
I am still struggling. I'm still struggling to hear you.
I will speak louder. There's nobody in my house but myself, so if I'm shouting to myself, don't think I'm crazy. This is one of those things. I hope everybody gets to hear. Okay. I think that some of the biggest structural and cultural barriers have been usual. So I left Sierra Leone having completed my engineering, my first engineering degree, and then I went to the UK. Of course, I work in a different culture, in a different environment where, coming from Africa, you are not trusted. Your ability and your competence is questioned. And of course, your gender also plays a role, because in some of the organizations I worked, I had a lot of my senior colleagues who, in those days, had wives who didn't work, and had a lot of wives in the Far East who were very submissive. And that's not to say all of them are, I know they're not, but they had very submissive wives, and they had an expectation of women. And of course, in that environment, sometimes caused a bit of a stir, because there were facilities for separate toilets and things like that. And nowadays it's mandatory, but when I started working, so you needed to fend for yourself. When I started work, it was for the Playboy magazine sent it up to be all over the walls of the offices. Now it's against the law. When I started work, I feel like a geriatric here. When I started work, it was usual for people to be calling each other racial slurs. And that was the norm. So I had to deal with all of it. So you can imagine, like Latoya said, you leave your environment, you go into another environment, and it's very different. But at the same time, you still need to work. Therefore, you need to prove yourself. And I think I made up my mind very early on. At the time, it probably wasn't the easiest thing to do, but I made up my mind that I would be the best Black female they had ever seen, they had ever worked with, the best Black person, because there weren't even a lot of Black men in the industry where I worked at the time. So I made up my mind very early. If it meant working longer, deeper, I would. If it meant doing the things that nobody else wanted to, I did. Why? Because I felt it was important that a certain narrative about the people like us had to be changed. And what I realized, I was usually the first person they had ever worked with. I was usually the first Black female they had had a conversation with, other than at the supermarket, cleaning the table, whatever, And I have stories around how those sort of incidents. So like I said, I made up my mind very earlier on that in order to break those stereotypes, I would have to harder. And it wasn't because I came from Sierra Leone, and I came from Sierra Leone at a time where my university had water, we had to go and use candles to study. So I was used to hard work. I was used to pushing myself beyond in order to get what I wanted. So it was just another hurdle that I chose to jump over. Now, interesting, because I leave the UK after 25 years, and I am now back in Sierra Leone. They assume that having achieved so much in the West, and I come home back to Sierra Leone, it would be easier because we're home. But even at home, we now have what I had not realized, the fact that we still have the low numbers of women in engineering, and perceptions that men get pregnant, they have to leave the work, they have to, they're not committed, they're only there looking for husbands, and as soon as they get a husband, they don't work. They don't put in a lot of effort at the university, so their competence level is questionable. So I leave the UK where I'm fighting racism and sexism, and I come back to Sierra Leone where sexism, misogyny is rife. And I guess I hadn't expected that. But one of the things that I continued to do was to lead. And I led in spaces where I wasn't wanted. So if I saw something not happening, I have a couple of my young female engineers on the call. I would just step in and just go about doing what I had to do. I would just make sure I delivered. And I delivered to the extent that when it came to the election for the presidency of our institution, it was, don't bother standing because you won't win. He's the only one working and she's going to get it. And that's because I chose to break the myth that women in engineering are thus, and they can't go there. So I'm like, yes, we can, and yes, we will. And I know that there are lots of women across the continent doing the exact same thing. From Kenya, I know Grace, I know too many of them. From Botswana, I've forgotten my friend's name, Ghana, Eliana, Italian, there are too many. So many of us made choices that, okay, you have created your ceilings. That's with our high heels and our lipsticks, which is going to bust through. And one of my first awareness raising campaigns with the women in Sierra Leone was called Hard Hat and Lipsticks. And we wore our hard hats, we wore our pink t-shirts, and everybody had on some lipstick. And we walked around saying to people, yes, we're women, but we're also engineers. Anyway, was there a closing to that statement? Was I meant to add? I feel as though I meant to end with something very profound, but I've lost my trend. So
No, that was actually profound. I mean, still establishing the fact that you are female in the engineering sector, which we usually would assume is a male-dominated area. I mean, you found a nice way to also represent women there, and I thank you for this. So what I picked from this is self-motivation. You set the goal that this is where I want to reach, and maybe despite the systems, despite the gaps, I want to get here, and you work tirelessly towards that. Thank you. So my next question would be that, yes, despite your self-motivation, despite the passion you have out there, there could be some policies, I mean, existing gaps that we are all hoping that would eventually be bridged at a time. But are there any changes you would advise in our policies that could ensure gender inclusion? Are there any changes?
So in Sierra Leone last year, Gender Empowerment. It's the Gender Empowerment Act, where in politics especially, there is a push to have a minimum of 30% representation at all levels. But even before that, when I run projects, generally I ask my procurement to state that in the contractors who are participating, I definitely want to see 30% female representation in the companies coming forward. Because if we don't give space to our female engineers, you know what happens. Most of the contracting companies and the big consulting companies are owned and run by our male colleagues, and they know themselves. They hang out, they drink on a regular basis, and therefore, you know, they make their small deals or big deals rather, when they go out drinking. And some of us don't always go drinking, or watch football with them or whatever. So we need to find opportunities to positively allow women to come into the space to demonstrate capacity and competence. So having that in place, especially for companies, is vital. I know that in Sierra Leone, it is only with regards to the political, but other people are pushing it into the spaces in which they're at. And I, for one, am a big champion. Additionally, it's hard to make allowances, say women must be, because we also then have the responsibility of being ready for these roles. Not quote unquote leadership per se, but start with basic competence. I did the Royal Academy last year, did some work college on the barriers to entering engineering at school, university, and the professional women. And at some of the universities, because of the remoteness, etc., the young ladies were very, very clear. Yes, we're doing engineering, but our male colleagues do our assignments because we have to work at home, children, we have this. So I said to them, if you're giving away your competence to your male colleagues, when you finish and go into the working environment, how are you going to cope? Because that competence needs to be owned and earned by you. You need to be able to leave university and go into the working environment. So there's also a responsibility on women engineers to do their best in their circumstances that they have to make sure that they're competent. So when the opportunities arise, they can step in. Structurally, like I said, a quota system, to be honest, I was never one to. I was never in favor of quotas, mainly because of my own particular history. I always believed that competition. But now I understand that regardless of your competence, there's still places and positions where the doors will remain shut until we put a foot in and say, some of us have to get in there. So those sorts of things are the sort of things that we need to think about. Of course, more leadership, mentorship, and I believe that this issue of a pipeline is very important. So a lot of people in our country, especially in the all-girls schools, we no longer have science labs because, for whatever reason, since the war, had so many issues. But if you don't start people understanding mathematics and science, by the time they get to secondary school and their students come to become students, they don't take it. They don't take it because they don't have the confidence. And people always say, oh, mathematics is hard, physics is hard. You really have to be very, very smart. If you can learn Shakespeare and quote all of these things and quote, every country in geography across the world, you can learn physics. It's not difficult. It's how we teach. So I speak from my country's perspective. The way we teach also needs to change. I think you guys, some of you, I know that like in Botswana and Kenya, the way engineering is taught, even in KNUST, it's very different to how we are teaching engineering here, because engineering education has moved forward. We're now more into the problem-based learning, where you take real-life situations and you learn, and you learn through real-life examples, as always being theoretical. So these are some of the things that we need to change in order that it becomes accessible to everyone, not just girls or boys, but to everyone. Because like I always say, and I didn't know I was going to add it here, the continent of Africa, a lot of the countries are developing, my country included. And if it is a developing country, you need the strength and the understanding, the competence of engineers to build the roads, to build the buildings safely, to create the telecoms infrastructure, to give us electricity, to do the water, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now with the technicians in IT, we need that strength of understanding, not just to get to where they are, but to leapfrog and go beyond where they are. Technology gives us that edge, but competence, hard work, and commitment pushes us all further. And as women, we have to understand that that is our position too. We're not leaving it for anybody. We are all in this together, men and women. The continent is birthed by women. We give birth to children. We need to know that our girls can get up tomorrow, stand up and say, the next baby washing machine, whatever you want to call it, I don't know what it is, will be created by a woman from Africa. I stop now because I'm conscious zero. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving us that much insight. And Latoya, yes, Trudy made mention of mentorship as one of the ways we can achieve, bridging the gap in women representation in the engineering sector. I would want to find out from you, maybe if you can share your insights on how mentorship and sponsorship are often used interchangeably, but we all know they play different roles in our career growth. Are you able to share how both shaped your journey?
Yeah. Thank you. That is an interesting question, because mentorship has played a big role in my life. But I don't know if I can call it the traditional mentorship. The traditional mentorship is where you identify a mentor and the mentor walks with you through your career, for example, giving you advice or helping you make decisions through your career and basically working as a sounding board. But in my career, I've had very many mentors in different facets of my life and different facets of my career. So for example, as I was starting as a graduate engineer, I had a mentor that you could say assisted me to get to the next level, which is a professional engineer. And likewise, at the same time, I had a mentor who helped me understand the business of construction. There's a mentor who helped me who opened doors for me to volunteer in engineering. There's also a mentor who opened doors for me in leadership. So I've had different types of mentors, identifying, different needs or different gaps in my life that require certain mentorship, certain skills that I would like to possess and in my career. So I wouldn't call my life, my journey as the traditional mentorship. As I've said, my mentors have spanned through also different types of male and female. Female mainly, I go a lot for advice because consulting engineering is a male dominated. It's a boys' club, as Engineer Trudy said. By the time I hear about a bid, the bid has been awarded and the consultant is mobilizing. And that's, oh, you didn't know, we didn't tell you. Oh, I thought you knew about it. Oh, sorry, next time. So that's when you identify, seriously, I cannot go through this by myself. I need a mentor. At that, and it being a boys' club, will my mentor be a female engineer, a female consulting engineer? Then we try to identify male mentors who, some of them actually champion for female empowerment of female representation in construction. So you identify that and say, look, I have this issue. I have this, I'm trying to get jobs. I can't seem to get jobs. What am I doing wrong? Can you maybe share with me opportunities once they come? Something like that. And that's how mentorship has assisted me in my career. In leadership, I look up to many female leaders because I understand, for example, in my consultancy at the World Bank, I have my team lead is a very powerful female engineer. And I look and I wonder, how do you do all this and still have children? And she's going around the world. And I wonder, is this, can we have it all? Does she have it all? She's very empathetic in how she deals with the team. And so I take that, I ask her questions. I say, what do you think I should do in this situation? Identify her as a leader. I identify, for example, our chair of ASEC, our Association of Consulting Engineers, our registrars, the engineers board, they're all strong women. And every time I am in a leadership position and I ask them, and they're like, I've been through this. This is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. Maybe toughen up, So I appreciate all my mentors that have made me who I am, the environment that I am in. And I feel like it has its space compared to also sponsorship, because sponsorship, unlike mentorship, is actually giving you a foot in the door. Because when you look at sponsorship, you look at someone or a sponsor can provide with you provide capital for your business, can maybe put in a good word for you to win a bid, maybe hire you as a sub-consultant, hire you as an independent consultant. So that way they help you grow your portfolio, help you grow your career without necessarily them being a mentor. So both of them have really, shaped my life, and both of them have given me equal opportunity, have given me good opportunities, or rather a fighting chance to still remain in the consulting industry. Because those sponsors, for example, I had when I attended my first FIDIC General Infrastructure Conference, it was fully sponsored by Institute of Engineers of Kenya and Association of Consulting Engineers and my fellow colleagues, engineering colleagues. And at that time, they were all male, but it was a sponsorship. They were none of them currently are my mentors, but they had that maybe belief that I needed to be in that platform. I needed to be in that room to open my mind and to see where my career could go. So I hope I've described that I've distinguished between mentorship and sponsorship, and how they have both helped me in my journey, and how I think they're all as important. They're all important in equal measure in building a career in engineering.
You have done that very well, and I'm sure participants would maybe from now on begin to get mentors that could also accelerate our growth in the industry. Thank you so much. And Deborah, do we have you on now, please?
Yes, please. Sorry about the earlier hitches. Sorry.
No, that is all right. So we have gone through your profile, and our geologists on the call are eager to hear your insights on how maybe as a geologist specialized in hydrogeology and geotechnical investigations, we would want to know what are the key emerging trends in earth sciences that future engineers must pay attention to, so that we get some form of capacity building from this.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the organizers for this opportunity. Yes, I think we've already done a good intro, so I wouldn't go into it. As a female engineer, right from BSc, I was at class, we were 77, and the ladies there were only 7. So I think now it has improved. Yes. And right from there, I want it to be practical as much as possible. My first job, we were 70, and I was the only female to lead the drilling team. Yes, so the rainy days and the shiny days, you have to be on site. So for hydro, now because of climate changes, it's not like as before. Previously we looked into trying to bring in rain harvesting to help solve our water scarcity, especially in the northern parts or in other areas that they are faced with water. But now we've seen that the ecosystem is changing. So you can't even rely on just the rainfall pattern. So you need to, as a hydro person, you need to think beyond the traditional way of doing things. We've moved past into better instruments for looking for water, as in prospecting for water. And we now the traditional one, that's the Slambeje method, the dipole. Sorry, where I'm going to, if I have to explain it further, can let me know. Into using the 2D and the 3D methods for water prospecting. So as a young engineer, I think you should read wide, and you should also look for articles about the new emergence in this hydro field. Then when it comes to the geotechnical investigation aspects, gone are the days that we just did the traditional SPT drillings and the DCPTs. Now, because of the earthquake issues, and those of us in Accra, you've been experiencing tremors and all that. You need to also learn to incorporate the seismic refractive methods and the geophysical methods all in one into your geotech. So these are the new emergence or the new additions that have been brought on board pertaining to the investigative aspect of geotech. And with the exploration, now we are also looking into the isotope geology to help with our exploration methods, to help us better to understand our hydrothermal fluids. Okay, so let me just come to me. I think my other panelists, they've done a good work with their experiences and their insights. Yes, for me, I had a lot of mentors that helped me in my journey. Trust me, I had a lot of mentors, and I also endeavored to learn. It's not easy. Somebody will be like, one person you are hydro, one person you are geotech, one person you are into exploration. Yes, I realized in every field that I found myself, I had to prove myself 150% more than my male counterpart. It's either as a woman, you are getting married. So once you get married, you have to lay you off. My experience in one of the mining sector, the next thing you're going to give birth, so we have to let you go. When there's redundancy, you are the first person that they have to take out. They don't even give a second thought about it. So I endeavor to be better than my male counterparts, that no matter what, you will need me. Whether I'm there or I'm not there, you have to call me, because you cannot solve that issue. So I learned extra, looked for opportunities everywhere. Mentors that I have to even go and beg, you have to mentor me by fire by force. If not, I'm not leaving your desk. I have to go the extra mile of doing things. So yes, I had to, because we are in the exploration world, and once we are done with the exploration, the next thing is you have to develop the mines. And you developing the mines, you need to do your slope stability. So I had to learn geotech. And once you are dealing with your slope stability, with mineralization comes with water. So you'll be having issues with your hydro. So how do you solve the water issue, the hydro issue? I had to learn my hydro and have to be perfect with it. So yeah, okay, this is Deborah. So if you can get, and most of our employees, if you can get somebody who can do all in one, then that person is the best candidate. Or then that person is that. So they have to bring you on board. And then again, I also looked for I think my Trudy or Latoya was talking about the scholarship. Yes, there are a lot of scholarships available for women in engineering. But then it's not just about you being a female, so they will give you the scholarship. You need to prove yourself. But you don't have to do a lot of work when it comes to these sponsorship. For my PhD works, I had a sponsorship from the Society of Economic Geology that's in Australia, but I'm in Ghana doing my studies. They gave me the scholarship. I received a sponsorship from the Ghana Chamber of Mines, and I also received a sponsorship from the Agate project, that's for West Africa. They also give me a 3-year sponsorship for my PhD work. So for just one PhD, I received 3 scholarships. But it was because of my capability and my resilience to get those scholarships. So it was not just writing. We are in an era that AI is available. So people just go to ChatGPT. They don't even edit. You need to let the people know what you want to do and where you want to go. So that was what helped me in securing this scholarship. And then again, I still come back to the mentorship. Yes, I had good mentors who put in good words for me. So in your journey as a young engineer, you need to identify mentors that will help you, that will hold your hands to doors that ideally you will not be able to go through. Yes, so you need to get to these mentors. And one of my mentors like this, I actually worked for that person for 2 years without salary. I just wanted to learn. So it's not just about you wanting to gain experience. These are young engineers. When they come in, they are into the money. They have to get this. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. You have to also sacrifice something to gain something. So yes, I worked for even 5 years over without salary, not even transportation. And now that man is on retirement. And if you need him to do anything for you, you have to come to me. Because whatever he knows, I make sure I tap into it. Yeah. So please, as ladies, yes, we already know our challenges already. I wouldn't want to go into it. But then you should also be ready to sacrifice to gain knowledge. You have to be able to sacrifice to gain something precious for your own journey. And never forget that as a female, sometimes you have to prove yourself more than your male counterparts. I think I'll end here for the other panelists to continue. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deborah. So Michelle, yes, we've talked a lot about capacity building. We've talked a lot about mentorship. but I would want your thoughts on this. Are there any cultural narratives? Let me just take us back a little. Are there any cultural narratives about women in engineering that we need to challenge and rewrite? Are there things that they say, okay, this is something about women that we all know is not the case, and we need to rewrite? If you can share your insights on that. Michelle.
Oh my word, I've been mute the whole
Yeah,
time.
you were muted. Sorry about that. Yes, please,
Sorry
you
about
can. Yeah.
that. Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, I was just saying that they know about women, and to the famous one, right? That engineering is not for women. Women are meant to sit in a front desk and be the face of the company, right? That we don't belong on site. We don't belong. We shouldn't be wearing overalls and the big boots every time you step on site, and you get the cat calling like, in Setswana, we say, ole montle yana o batla mo sighting, literally meaning you are so pretty to actually be on site. You know, first they see your face before they even know what's in your head. So I think my encouragement, or what I want to say is, eyes on the ball, baby girl, like an exciting field. Um, walk into the room and be remembered for the impact that you are actually going to make. And I like what Deborah has said, that it seems we need to work harder as women, because it's about, we are more than just the pretty face. People have to want to work with you, you know, they have to want to work with you. So that narrative of engineering is just for men, we need to do away with it and prove people wrong. And I just want to also share a bit of a personal story from what she said, that when you prove yourself, people will call you even when you are on maternity leave, you know, like they won't want to do away with you, because normally you'll be the first one out, because you're a woman, you're pregnant, you have kids, and so forth. But if you equip yourself with the right tools, and you become a rare commodity, you know, then that's it.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for that. So to all our panelists, your closing remarks, I would want to engage you on what's that one actionable piece of advice to the young female engineers facing discouragement. What would it be? That one piece actionable. What would you want to leave with our young female engineers aspiring to also climb the ladder in the engineering industry? I would start with Deborah. You're closing. No, Deborah, you hold on. Let me take Latoya. Are you on, please? Okay, so unfortunately, Latoya has left us. So, Deborah, I would like to hear your closing remarks to our young female engineers.
Hello. Yes. As a female engineer, don't wait to feel ready. Start anyway. Find your tribe and keep learning. You might not be probably like me, that you'll be able to combine all the different aspects of our field into one, and you'll be able to differentiate the different aspects of engineering and stand alone. Just find your niche and start. No matter the pressure, no matter the discouragement, just push through. And at the end of the day, or in 10 years to come, in 5 years to come, just always look at the future. 5 years to come, will you still want to be where you are? Will the people laughing at you? I remember one guy, the moment I got married, oh, you're a woman, you won't go to the field again. And the person said it in local parlance, and it was to my face. This was my driver. How will you take it? And how will you transform it to let them know that, yes, you're a woman. You want to get married, you want to give birth, and you still can have everything put together and still excel in your field. So, yes, that's what I will leave you with. Know your niche, start anyway, and still make sure you push through every barrier. I think somebody posted a question here concerning being taken advantage of in the line of work. Yes, it will come. I think Jacqueline knows me, so she knows my ship, and you will not have it easy. You are good. So I asked myself one question. You are good. I'm with my other colleagues. They were guys. You are not telling the person to come and see you, but you are telling me to come and see you. Meanwhile, we all have the same certificates. Why should I come and see you? So you see that I will resign peacefully, or I'll resign and escalate the whole issue. So don't let anybody take advantage of you just because you want mentorship, just because you want to learn something, just because you want a job. The job will come. Even if you don't get a job, create your own job. So I had to start my own company. That once a while I was getting contracts to do so that I will survive. So the fact that, yes, people are asking you that and this, hunger didn't kill anybody. So my dear ladies, just be firm on your decisions, irrespective of how bad it will be. Just stand firm on your decision, and trust me, it will pay. Nobody will point a finger at you that I had my way with you, and that's how you got this position. They'll say it, even if you don't even sleep with anybody, they'll still say you slept with somebody. So just make up your mind, and I trust you make the best decision out of your life. And the next time that you meet, will be a wonderful story from your side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Deborah, for those inspiring words. Michelle, your closing remarks.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think my closing remarks, without sounding like a broken record, is as women in engineering or the built environment, we need to really equip ourselves with the right tools. You need to become that rare commodity. There is often the saying that we all hear that if you're not sitting at the table, it means you're on the menu yourself. So as women, once you equip yourself with the right tools, you'll get invitations when policies are being drafted, because in order for us to change the narrative, like Trudy said, that you need to change the narrative. In order for us to change the narrative, you have to be the one writing the policies and actually driving the change. So equip yourselves with the right tools. Right now, we're speaking digitization, we're speaking sustainability. People now in Botswana, we have attended the mining show last week. I found out the chairperson is a woman who's actually the chairperson of that, heading sustainability. So to equip yourself really And Deborah has touched on the unemployment rate. I like that as a woman, if you find yourself like unemployed, you need to be the one feeling so uncomfortable with that situation that you do said, I want a master's, and applied and I was so uncomfortable that
Sorry, Michelle, looks like we've lost you. So Trudy, your closing remarks.
First of all, thank you guys for Constromart for inviting me. It's been quite interesting. I haven't done a spam call in a while. But you just reminded me that my new constituents are in the Caribbean all the way to the to Australia. So I've got to get used to picking up this early and staying up later. So I think that this has been a really interesting, quite inspiring conversation, even for me. As a woman who has spent over 30 plus years straight working in engineering and in management, I find it, I think that it's important that we never lose sight of one thing, that we are important. And I say that we are important because everybody has worth in something. Everybody has ability to do something well. Everybody has a place. Everybody has a place in their home, in their community, in their society. Everybody has a place. And if we realize that we are important and we have a place, regardless of where we find ourselves, in engineering and otherwise, as a team member or as a leader, we then start to realize that what we are, where we are, is important enough for us to do the best. So much has been said today. The importance of volunteering, the importance of getting experiences outside your daily job. So your leadership experience doesn't need to start in your working environment. It can start in your local church, at the football pitch, teaching young students. That's where your leadership experience can start. It doesn't have to start in the working environment because sometimes not everybody is given that opportunity. But being a woman of faith, I recognize and I realize that sometimes that faith will be tested. And because it's being tested, you need to understand that the depth which you have to personally dig is only you and God who know how far you need to go. Your destiny is unknown. 2 years ago, if you had said, Trudy, you'll be the president of Commonwealth Engineering Council, I'd be like, why? But here I am. So we don't know what the opportunities are. We just need to keep learning. We just need to keep being open. And we just need to keep experiencing. But most importantly, we need to be good. We need to be good to ourselves. We need to be good to others. And we need to just be good. I say that because leaders come in all shapes and sizes. But a leader that makes impact and makes a difference is somebody who has understood what it means to somebody else. So if you're not good to yourself, if you're not good to others, you can't bring any goodness, in my opinion, personal, to your leadership journey. And it is just that. It is a journey. It is a journey. Doesn't start when you walk into the office. It starts every day that you get up, affected by the decisions you make on a daily basis. I explained that in my journey, I made a lot of choices. Because initially in my head, I was just like, they need to see Black people good. But that push actually motivated me to become better than maybe I would have if I felt everything was okay. It motivated me and pushed me to do things that nobody else in my office wanted to do. And therefore, I became the expert. I became the guru. I became the go-to person. To the extent that 3 years after I left the company, people would still call me for information. That's how we all got to get. That's how good we all got to be. I'm really grateful to Latoya. I remember her now. We were in Mombasa together. Michelle, we've spoken together. I've never met Deborah, but I'm excited to meet her soon. And of course, your beautiful self, Antoinette, and I'm quite happy to maybe in March when I'm in Accra for the
Sure.
GHIE conference.
Right.
But it's a journey that starts with us making a decision. Just start. Just start. Whatever it is.
Thank you. Thank you so much to our distinguished panelists, for willingly sharing such valuable insights with us today. And thank you to our participants as well for staying with us through this discussion. On behalf of Constromart Africa, the K&E team, we are grateful for your presence, and we look forward to seeing you next week as we delve into yet another interesting topic. And I wish you all a productive week, and thank you once again. Bye. Bye.